Chapter 1. The Shattering of the Elden Ring. Long ago, the Elden Ring stood as the shining source of divine order and unparalleled power across the realm known as the Lands Between. This sacred artifact was no mere ring, but a cosmic construct embodying the golden laws that governed life, fate, and the balance of all beings. It anchored the world's stability, weaving together the will of the greater will, the gods, the demigods descended from Queen Marika the Eternal, and mortal life itself. Within the perfect harmony of the Elden Ring's influence, prosperity prevailed, and the cosmic order was maintained with unwavering strength. Yet, the peace was shattered when darkness and ambition sowed discord. The Elden Ring was violently broken into countless fragments known as great runes, tearing asunder the fundamental laws that held the realm together. This cataclysmic fracture incited a vast upheaval. Champions and demigods waged brutal wars, lands fell into ruin, and the harmony that once reigned was replaced by chaos and despair. The Shattering thus marked a pivotal turning point, a breaking of divine covenant and the unraveling of the world's cosmic design. As the scattered great runes lay coveted by powerful entities, every corner of the Lands Between became a battleground of ambition, sorrow, and shattered legacies. Chapter 2. The Rise of the Demigods. In the turbulent era following the Elden Ring's fracturing, the demigods emerged as central figures of power and ambition. These divine offspring, born of Queen Marika the Eternal and other celestial beings, each inherited a shard of the great runes, endowing them with formidable strength and unique powers. Fueled by a desire to claim supremacy over the Lands Between, these demigods waged relentless battles that scarred the land and shattered the fragile peace. The great houses they established became realms unto themselves, each region reflecting the traits and powers of its ruling demigod. Some imposed cruel dominion, others struggled against the relentless tide of violence, but all were marked by their connection to the Elden Ring's fractured power. This competition for dominance spawned wars so fierce that entire cities were razed, alliances formed and shattered, and mortal folk despairingly caught in the crossfire. The bloodlines of the demigods intertwined with tragedy, as ambition and pride bred ruin and unrest. Their reigns defined the era of chaos, setting the stage for eventual redemption or further destruction. Chapter 3. Queen Marika and her role. Queen Marika the Eternal stands at the heart of the Lands Between's tumultuous saga. She served not only as a sovereign ruler, but as a living divine embodiment and guardian of the Golden Order. Charged with the sacred task of preserving the Elden Ring's sanctity and overseeing the lineage of the demigods, Marika's authority was unparalleled. However, her complex role included actions shrouded in mystery that deeply shaped the world's fate. At times, Marika chose to withdraw from mortal affairs, creating a power vacuum that escalated conflicts between her offspring. She was both revered and feared. Her decisions left ripples through the realms, influencing alliances, betrayals, and the very fabric of divine law. Her relationship with the Elden Ring is enmeshed with notions of sacrifice, rebirth, and perhaps even defiance of the greater will itself. This enigmatic figure's motives and fate remain subjects of speculation, but her indelible mark on history reminds all that even divine beings walk precariously upon the lines of order and chaos. Chapter 4. The Lands Between. Geography and Mysticism. The Lands Between is a sprawling realm full of wondrous and varied landscapes where nature and mysticism intertwine seamlessly. Vast castles rise amidst ancient ruins, with fields, mountains, and enchanted forests stretching beyond the horizon. The geography itself tells a story of conflict and legacy. Misty swamps that cloak cursed secrets, towering frozen peaks where ancient dragons once soared, and rich woodlands glowing with faint magical light all compose this enigmatic world. Time in the lands between often bends and ripples, shaped and walked by lingering mystical energies. Spirits from long past wars linger as ephemeral presences, their whispers absorbed by the wind. The very essence of the land vibrates with the echoes of divine laws once held tightly by the Elden Ring, now fractured. This blend of physical awe and supernatural resonance creates an environment alive with both beauty and peril, inviting adventurers to explore while always hinting at unfathomable forces beneath the surface. Chapter 5. The Tarnished, Return and Redemption. The Tarnished are a unique group of outcasts, once favored by grace, yet ultimately exiled from the lands between. Stripped of their divine favor amid the realm's growing chaos, they wandered, lost and forgotten, until a mysterious summons called them home once more. Bearing shadows of lost glory and remnants of noble bloodlines, the Tarnished return with a vital mission: to seek out the scattered great runes, to either restore or redefine the Elden Ring's shattered legacy. Their journey is fraught with danger, not only from hostile creatures and demigods guarding their shards, but also from the weight of duty and destiny that presses upon their shoulders. Each Tarnished carries a unique past and motivation, from seeking vengeance, redemption, or the hope of forging a new era. As they traverse the broken world, these wanderers confront their own inner shadows, confront ancient deities, and shape the future of the lands between through choices balancing honor, power, and survival. Chapter 6. The Golden Order and its Laws. Before the Elden Ring was shattered, the Golden Order was the grand cosmic system that sustained the universe's delicate balance. This order consisted of divine laws regulating the circle of life, death, fate, and the flow of grace that linked gods, demigods, and mortals alike. It was the organizing principle behind the Elden Ring's power, ensuring harmony between all living and divine planes. The order dictated sacred rituals, succession of rulers, and the natural progression of souls. When the Elden Ring fractured, this foundational structure was violently disrupted, causing mutations of power and chaos to spread. Despite this cataclysm, remnants of the Golden Order persist through ancient rites, sacred relics, and unwavering faith among its followers. These remnants drive persistent conflict, as factions seek to uphold or overturn the original laws, each imparting their interpretation of divine will. The Golden Order remains the invisible thread weaving through the vast tapestry of the lands between, capturing the hopes and despair of all who live beneath its gaze. Chapter 7. The Role of Grace and the Guidance of the Greater Will. Grace is the unseen ethereal force that flows through all creation in the lands between, guiding, empowering, and connecting beings to a destiny woven by the greater will. This cosmic entity, incomprehensibly vast and mysterious, orchestrates the unfolding of events and the maintenance of order from beyond mortal perception. Grace calls out to chosen individuals, particularly the Tarnished, illuminating their path toward reclaiming the Elden Ring's shattered power. This divine favor manifests in glowing trails, subtle signs, and sometimes in direct intervention, offering strength balanced with purpose. The greater will operates like a silent puppeteer, ensuring the fractured world still moves toward a resolution, weaving fate even amid chaos and uncertainty. Its nature is shrouded in mystery, suggesting a design far beyond mortal understanding, where free will and predestination coexist in delicate tension. Through grace and the greater will's subtle guidance, the journey for restoration is both a calling and a burden for those who dare traverse the lands between. Chapter 8. The Demigods' Great Runes and Their Influence. After the Elden Ring's fracture, its broken fragments, known as Great Runes, became the coveted symbols of divine authority. Each demigod claimed one such fragment, inheriting powers that defined their strength and dominion. These great runes each embodied aspects of the original Golden Order, such as resilience, grace, wisdom, or warlike might, further enhancing their possessors' influence. But with brilliant power came insidious corruption, distorting both hearts and lands. Wars over these shards were fierce, as demigods and factions alike sought to gather multiple runes to reconstruct or manipulate the Elden Ring's power. The great runes served as both keys to salvation and seeds of ruin. Their location often became war zones guarded by legions, ancient curses, or powerful entities. Beyond physical might, the runes walked the spiritual fabric of their domains, their presence fostering both awe and dread. Taken together, the great runes stand as the linchpins around which the fate of the lands between revolves. Chapter 9. Legacy of the Godwyn Bloodline. The lineage descending from Godwyn the Golden carries a sorrowful and mysterious legacy that profoundly impacts the Lands Between's ongoing tale. Godwyn was a divine son born of Queen Marika, his life intertwined with the Elden Ring's history, but his untimely death during the events of the Shattering cast a long shadow. Unlike other demigods, Godwyn's death left behind a lingering curse, his soul fractured yet denied rest, creating a spectral farce known as the deathbed that twisted the boundaries between life and death. His bloodline is steeped in tragedy, embodying themes of loss, eternal struggle, and the haunting grip of a curse that transcends generations. The consequences of this bloodline's curse ripple outward, touching other realms beyond the Lands Between and influencing forbidden magics, the restless dead, and the fears of living beings. This legacy intertwines closely with the balance between mortality and divinity, making Godwyn's bloodline one of the most pivotal in understanding the world's broken fate. Chapter 10. The Influence of the Two Fingers. The two fingers serve as enigmatic intermediaries between the greater will and its followers within the Lands Between. Manifesting as celestial emissaries, these beings communicate divine intent through cryptic visions, prophetic dreams, and ritualistic signs. Through them, much of the Golden Order's complex laws and commands are interpreted and disseminated to the demigods and the Tarnished alike. However, the guidance they offer is layered with ambiguity, prompting interpretation, doubt, and sometimes conflict. These entities embody the tension between fate and free will, reinforcing the idea that the divine will is both a guide and a riddle. For many, the two fingers symbolize hope and order, but also ritualistic adherence to an authority that may not reveal its full truth. Their enduring presence underscores the complexity of divine mechanics controlling a world torn between ruin and renewal. Chapter 11. Radagon, Dual Divinity and His Impact. Radagon is a figure marked by duality, a mortal and divine presence intricately intertwined. Born both as a fierce warrior and a god, he embodies a union of contradictory qualities, bridging light and shadow, strength and compassion. He was bound to Queen Marika not only through marriage, but through profound mystical links, further complicating the divine lineage. Radagon's formidable skill in battle and his place in the celestial hierarchy brought about monumental political and supernatural shifts during the Lands Between's fractured era. He participated in crucial battles, alliances, and betrayals that significantly shaped the war for control over the Elden Ring's shards. His story is a testament to the complexity of power and identity, illustrating how unity and conflict exist side by side. His actions ripple through history, challenging traditional roles of divinity and mortal ambition, and forcing all players to reckon with the overlapping forces that drive the fight for this world's future. Chapter 12. The Battlefields of the Shattering. The epoch known as the Shattering left deep scars across the Lands Between, transforming vast regions into battlefields soaked in blood and sorrow. Endless conflicts erupted as demigods, noble warriors, and formidable supernatural entities clashed violently for supremacy over the shattered great runes. These wars were legendary. Colossal weapons clashed, ancient sorceries surged, and fortresses once symbols of peace crumbled into ruins. Armies shattered mountains and scorched fertile lands, while those caught in the tides of war saw their homes and hopes obliterated. The echoes of these battles remain potent, haunting the land with restless spirits and lingering curses. Abandoned ruins and fields testify to the relentless tide of violence that shaped civilizations. More than mere strife between rulers, these battles were struggles of divine will itself, where fate, honor, and brute power collided with relentless intensity and tragic consequences. Chapter 13. The Golden Order's Guardians, the Cleanrot Knights. The Cleanrot Knights stand as enigmatic custodians of the Golden Order's fading but sacred principles. Clad in rusted yet resilient armor corroded by time and strange rot, these warriors serve as agents of balance and harsh justice in the fractured world. Their existence reflects a paradox. They embody ideals of purity and order, but also the decay and corruption threatening to consume the Lands Between. Their origins are deeply tied to ancient mysticism and a sworn oath to protect the remnants of the Elden Ring's legacy. The Cleanrot Knights intervene decisively when forces arise that jeopardize the cosmic equilibrium, punishing transgressors and preserving sacred sites. Their presence is both feared and respected across territories, symbolizing the fragile link between Order's hope and inevitable ruin. Chapter 14. The Blacksmith's Role and the Crafting of Legendary Arms. Within the Lands Between, blacksmiths hold a revered place as craftspeople of destiny. More than mere artisans, they breathe life and legacy into weapons and armor, infusing them with the souls of champions and the echoing magic of a bygone golden age. Their forges burn with flames colored by ancient enchantments, transforming raw materials into instruments capable of wielding or challenging the great rune's power. These smiths maintain and restore legendary arms lost in battle, acting as both preserver and innovator within the fractured world. Some possess secret techniques passed down across generations, tying their craft directly to the Elden Ring's origins and mysteries. The weapons they create don't just carve flesh, they carve fate, becoming symbols of heroic valor or harbingers of doom depending on their wielder's choices. Chapter 15. The Eternal Cities and Ruins of the Past. Scattered across the Lands Between lie the eternal echoes of once great cities and ancient ruins, remnants of a golden age before the Shattering plunged the world into darkness. These colossal structures, from soaring towers to sprawling fortresses, speak of majestic splendor and advanced knowledge now faded into myth. Their crumbling stonework, often swallowed by creeping vines and tarnished by time, holds secrets long forgotten but vital to understanding the realm's history. Many are haunted by spectral guardians, cursed traps, and lingering powers that repel unworthy intruders. The eternal cities serve as vital markers for the Tarnished and all who seek truth, sanctuary, or power. Within their labyrinthine interiors and shadowed halls lie relics of divine magic, written histories, and traces of long-dead civilizations. These ruins whisper tales of glory and tragedy, urging explorers to tread carefully, lest they disturb forces better left buried. Chapter 16. The Role of Frenzied Flame and Madness. Frenzied Flame personifies one of the most destructive forces threatening the lands between, a wild, chaotic power embodying madness, destruction, and the relentless desire to undo creation itself. Where the Golden Order strives for harmonizing laws, the Frenzied Flame burns as a stigmatized manifestation of anarchy and ruination. Certain factions and individuals, driven mad by pain or purpose, embrace this force, unleashing torrents of wildfire and suffering across the land. Its flames consume civilizations, corrupt souls, and twist landscapes into nightmarish wastelands. This chaotic blaze serves as a critique of order's failure and the perils inherent in power wielded without restraint or compassion. The threat of Frenzied Flame is not merely physical. It challenges the concepts of identity, reality, and sanity, threatening to engulf not just the lands between, but the very essence of existence, in endless fury and despair. Chapter 17. The Ties of Blood and Curse. Bloodlines within the lands between carry significance far beyond simple heredity, weaving complex tapestries of divine favor, curses, and fate. Certain families are inextricably linked to ancient powers or tragic pasts, their descendants bearing heavy burdens shaped by blessings or woes passed through generations. These ties affect physiology, magical abilities, and even the destinies of individuals, creating tensions between predetermined fate and personal choice. Some bloodlines are marked by horrific curses, twisting bodies and wills, while others channel raw divine energy. The weight of such ancestry entangles characters in broader struggles, forcing them to navigate painful inheritances while shaping their own paths. The intertwining of blood and curse is a recurring theme, reflecting the painful consequences and fragile hopes bound tightly to power and legacy in this fractured world. Chapter 18. The Outer Gods and Their Intrigue. Far beyond the lands between, vast cosmic entities known as the Outer Gods exist on incomprehensible scales, their presence affecting hidden currents beneath reality's surface. These otherworldly beings embody inscrutable forces of ambition, fear, and chaos, and their influence loosely guides mortal affairs through blessings, curses, and whispered promises. Mortals who seek their favor or fall victim to their malice find themselves playing parts in unfathomable games that transcend time and space. Their existence highlights the fragile boundaries between worlds, suggesting that conflict over the Elden Ring is but a single thread in a far more intricate cosmic web. The Outer Gods' motives remain mysterious and often contradictory, embodying the paradox of power. That which grants creation can also sow destruction on unprecedented scales. Chapter 19. The Path of the Tarnished and the Quest for the Elden Ring. The The Tarnished embark on an arduous journey across the fractured lands in pursuit of the scattered great runes, with the goal of restoring or reshaping the Elden Ring, and thus the very fate of the lands between. Their path leads through hostile realms marked by fierce enemies, political intrigue, ancient mysteries, and haunting echoes of past eras. Along the way, they confront not only external threats, demigods, monsters, and corrupted forces, but also wrestle with inner doubts, moral dilemmas, and the heavy weight of legacy. Every choice they make ripples across the world, influencing alliances, conflicts, and the possibility of peace or utter destruction. Their quest symbolizes themes of redemption, resilience, and the search for meaning in a world broken by divine catastrophe. Success demands courage, wisdom, and adaptability, while failure risks being swallowed by ruin and obscurity forever. Chapter 20. The Cycle of Death and Rebirth. A central motif in the Lands Between is the endless cycle of death and rebirth, intimately tied to the remnants of the Elden Ring's powers. Souls traverse between planes of existence. Bodies perish, only for new beings to rise, often bearing traces of past lives. This cycle shapes magic, destiny, and the very landscape, with some domains trapped in loops of decay, while others embody renewal. The rhythm of life and death is both blessing and curse. It allows for hope and continuity, but also traps souls in infinite struggles. Many denizens, including the Tarnished, seek to transcend or break free from these cycles, yearning for true peace or transformation. The world itself seems bound to this eternal ebb, where beginnings and ends overlap in a cosmic dance dictated by forces as ancient as the Elden Ring itself. Chapter 21. The Influence of the Rune Bearers. Rune Bearers are chosen individuals or beings granted the strength and responsibility to wield fragments of the Elden Ring's great runes. Their power magnifies their influence and places them at the nexus of spiritual, political, and military struggles. Each rune bearer leaves a distinct mark on their domains, shaping culture, governance, and the landscapes themselves. Some use their power to bring growth, healing, or protection. Others dominate through ruthless ambition or destructive force. This duality highlights the tension between inherited authority and personal will. Their actions resonate far beyond their immediate realms, affecting the overarching pursuit of restoring or redefining the Elden Ring. The future of the Lands Between hinges largely on what rune bearers choose: salvation for the fractured world or further chaos and devastation. Chapter 22. The Lords of the Lands Between. The political landscape of the Lands Between is dominated by powerful lords, each ruling distinct regions and commanding armies, sorcery, and ancient relics. These rulers often trace their authority to the possession or inheritance of great runes, their reigns shaped by intertwined legacies of divine mandate, personal ambition, and tragic history. Despite their power, relationships among these lords are fractious, marked by tenuous alliances, simmering rivalries, and outright hostilities that echo the larger divine conflicts. Their actions influence the ebb and flow of power, affecting the lives of ordinary folk and warriors alike. The complex interplay of loyalty, betrayal, honor, and greed among the lords enriches the tapestry of the Lands Between, weaving politics and mythology into one inseparable fabric that defines the fate of the realm. Chapter 23. Mystical Creatures and Spirits of the Lands Between. The lands between teem with mystical creatures and spirits, living echoes of the world's ancient magic and divine origins. Colossal dragons soar among the mountains, their scales shimmering with otherworldly hues, while ethereal spirits drift through enchanted forests, guardians of places saturated with grace or sorrow. Many monstrous beings arise from the corruption and imbalance caused by the Elden Ring's fracture, embodying the raw and often terrifying forces of nature and the supernatural. Some species act as protectors of sacred realms, others as relentless foes to those who trespass. Their existence enriches the world with complexity, offering allies to befriend and threats to overcome. These creatures and spirits are reminders that the lands between are alive with unseen forces, where every step reveals wonders and perils beyond mortal ken. Chapter 24. The Interplay of Light and Darkness. Light and darkness are fundamental cosmic forces woven deeply into the lands between's fate. The Elden Ring once radiated pure, unblemished light, symbolizing order, hope, and divine favor. However, after its fracturing, darkness crept in, casting long shadows and ushering in eras filled with uncertainty and strife. Rather than simple opposites, light and darkness represent overlapping principles of creation and destruction, hope and despair, law and chaos. Many places and individuals embody aspects of both: heroes who battle inner shadows, realms where faded light struggles against encroaching night. This nuanced duality illustrates the fragile balance necessary for life, urging that neither force can fully dominate without dire consequences. In the lands between, twilight is never far, reflecting the world's inherent complexity, where every choice tilts the scales toward light or darkness. Chapter 25. The Importance of Spirit. Ashes and Summons. Spirit ashes represent remnants of ancient fallen heroes, creatures, and beings whose souls linger, offering aid to those journeying through the perilous lands between. These spectral allies can be summoned in critical moments, bringing strength, wisdom, or magical support when facing overwhelming foes or daunting challenges. The origins of these spirits are varied, ranging from noble warriors who gave their lives in service to mystical entities bound by sacred oaths or tragedy. Summoning spirit ashes underscores the profound connection between life, death, and the magical threads that connect all things in the realm. Their presence provides hope and companionship in a world rife with isolation and danger, bolstering the Tarnished and their allies against otherwise insurmountable odds. Chapter 26. The Tragedy of Maliketh, the Black Blade. Maliketh, known as the Black Blade, is a deeply tragic figure who bears the immense responsibility of guarding key fragments of the Elden Ring. His fate is steeped in loyalty and sacrifice. Once a herald of grace, he is now burdened by the unrelenting curse linked to the Rune of Death. Maliketh's immense power and sorrow are reflected in his black armor and mighty weapon, symbolizing his dual role as protector and tragic prisoner. Feared by many, misunderstood by most, he walks a lonely path, dedicated to preserving balance between life and death. His struggles illuminate the conflict between order and decay, serving as a poignant reminder of the costs borne by those caught between divine duties and mortal desires. Maliketh's legacy influences the lands between's future, impacting the choices and fates of all who seek to mend or unravel the shattered Elden Ring. Chapter 27. Ranni the Witch and the Secrets of the Lunar Realm. Ranni the Witch is a pivotal figure whose destiny is inseparably woven with the mysteries of the moon and the lunar realm, a parallel dimension existing alongside the lands between. Possessing profound magical power and a restless spirit, Ranni seeks to escape the constraints of predestined fate dictated by the Golden Order and the Greater Will. Her motivations blend ambition with rebellion, as she manipulates arcane knowledge and time itself to carve her own path and alter the course of existence. Ranni's journey exposes hidden layers of the universe, revealing that the struggle over the Elden Ring is but one aspect of a broader cosmic dance. Her influence opens portals to moonlit realms where time and reality bend, challenging mortal understanding and expanding the scope of conflict beyond physical borders into celestial domains. Chapter 28. The Influence of the Carian Royal Family. The Carian royal bloodline is renowned across the lands between for its intimate relationship with sorcery and celestial forces, especially those connected to the moon. Their history is one of majesty interlaced with tragedy, their dominion punctuated by powerful sorcerers who shape both political destiny and arcane lore. The Carian family's command over lunar magic has granted them unique privileges and influence, while also attracting envy and intrigue. Their halls have seen alliances forged and broken, betrayals that affected the entire realm, and powers that ripple through generations. Their story showcases how heritage, divine influence, and magical prowess converge, underscoring the fragile and volatile nature of power in a world still shaken by the Elden Ring's fracturing. Chapter 29. The Significance of the Rune of Death. The Rune of Death is one of the most potent and fearsome fragments of the Elden Ring, carrying the chilling authority over life, death, and the realms beyond. This great rune empowers its bearer with the ability to manipulate the boundaries between existence and the afterlife, challenging the natural order upheld by the Golden Order's laws. Its wielder commands forces that can summon spirits, extend death's reach, or defy mortal limitations, making the rune a symbol both revered and feared. The presence of this fragment complicates the balance of grace and mortality, often associated with curses and quiet dread. Wars, betrayals, and sacrifices surround the Rune of Death, as its control could tip the scales either towards salvation or profound devastation. Its fate significantly affects how death is perceived and managed, making it a central piece in the cosmic struggle within the lands between. Chapter 30. The Impact of the Scarlet Rot. The Scarlet Rot is a pervasive, corrupting blight that afflicts not only the lands, but the creatures and beings who dwell within the lands between. This creeping, malevolent force warps flesh and spirit alike, spreading sickness that transforms vibrant landscapes into desolate wastelands marked by bleeding decay. The rot's presence symbolizes the deep consequences of the Elden Ring's fracture, where order has weakened, rot and decay seize opportunity. Victims of the Scarlet Rot suffer excruciating degeneration, and areas overtaken by it become treacherous to traverse. This affliction challenges the resilience and humanity of those it touches and presents ongoing environmental danger that defies simple cure. Facing the Scarlet Rot demands formidable will, knowledge, and often sacrifice, as the corruption threatens to unravel life itself within the fractured world. Chapter 31. The Role of Golden Order, Faith and Fervor. Faith in the Golden Order forms a vital foundation for many of the Lands Between's inhabitants, offering power, purpose, and connection to the divine. This belief system venerates the laws of order, the Elden Ring itself, and the entities who embody these principles, Devotees practice rituals filled with prayer and blessing, drawing strength from sacred relics and ceremonies believed to influence fate and grant protection. The fervor of this faith creates unity among its followers, but can also incite fanaticism, driving conflicts between believers and dissenters. Throughout history, the force of this spiritual devotion has shaped armies, influenced politics, and sustained hope amid darkness. However, the tensions born of such faith mirror the realm's fragility, as devotion could both uplift and divide, underscoring the spiritual battles intertwined with those of sword and sorcery. Chapter 32. Ancient Giants and Titans. In the earliest epochs, colossal beings known as ancient giants and titans roamed the lands between. These enormous creatures embodied primeval strength and elemental forces, shaping the land itself and its initial cosmic structure. Lauded in legends, their tremendous power was tied to the deep magic and divine energies predating the Elden Ring's creation. Though many now lie petrified or buried beneath earth and stone, their remnants remain imposing, looming over valleys and mountains as silent sentinels. The echoes of their rampages and battles resonate in the very terrain and magical currents. Their stories form a mythic foundation within the world's narrative, signifying cycles of rise and fall, creation and destruction, and hinting at powers greater than even the demigods. Chapter 33. The Interdimensional Mysteries of the Night and the Moon. The night and the moon cloak the lands between in mysteries that transcend physical reality, bridging hidden dimensions and the flow of time. The moon's pale light is more than illumination. It acts as a gateway to lunar realms where reality bends and cosmic secrets dwell. Nightfall brings awakening forces, both benevolent and terrifying, as magical energies intensify and unknown entities stir. Those who manipulate lunar magic navigate shifting landscapes of time, memories, and alternate existences. This interplay between night, moon, and magic reflects the layered nature of truth in the world, where paths diverge and converge beyond mortal perception. Exploring these enigmas reveals deeper cosmic stakes, where the balance of worlds depends not only on physical conquest, but metaphysical understanding. Chapter 34. The Legacy of the Roundtable Hold. Roundtable Hold stands as a vital sanctuary and gathering place amid the lands between's turmoil, a stronghold for the Tarnished and other brave warriors alike. It symbolizes unity, camaraderie, and hope within a world fractured by divine conflict. More than a fortress, the Hold serves as a crossroads where history, strategy, and alliances intertwine. Warriors from diverse backgrounds share knowledge, prepare for battles ahead, and seek guidance within its fortified walls. It fosters a spirit of collaboration and offers refuge from the dangers beyond. The Hold is a beacon for those striving to restore order or chart new courses, reflecting the crucial role of fellowship in shaping the realm's unpredictable destiny. Within its halls echo stories of past heroes and unsung sacrifices, forever linking it to the saga of the Elden Ring. Chapter 35. The Connection Between Nature and the Divine. Nature within the lands between mirrors the intricate web of divine influence and cyclical processes shaping existence. Trees, rivers, mountains, and creatures all carry spiritual significance rooted in the Golden Order's laws or tainted by corruption. Certain natural landmarks serve as sacred sites where divine grace gathers or where balance is fiercely contested. Flora and fauna often exhibit signs of magical blessing or rot, and even the movements of the seasons feel intertwined with the realm's spiritual resonance. This connection highlights the fragile balance between life and decay, chaos and order. It reminds inhabitants that the physical world is not separate from the divine, but manifests the ongoing cosmic struggle. Respect for natural and spiritual cycles is essential for survival, underscoring the unity of all life within the vast cosmic tapestry governed by the Elden Ring. Chapter 36. The Fallen Grace and its Consequences. Grace, once a radiant and guiding force woven into every living being by the Golden Order, has waned significantly since the Elden Ring's shattering. This fallen grace has eroded connections to divine power, leaving many vulnerable to despair, corruption, and loss. The diminishing of grace reflects the broader unraveling of cosmic laws that once ensured harmony. Those stripped of grace often become confused, aimless, or consumed by darker impulses, while the world itself grows more unstable and wild. The fading light of grace pushes the lands between towards greater disorder, creating urgency for the Tarnished to reclaim lost fragments and restore balance. This loss also adds poignancy to the world's inhabitants' stories. Longing for grace is intertwined with hope and the pressing threat of oblivion. Chapter 37. The Mysterious Role of the Nameless King. The Nameless King remains a shadowy, elusive figure, enshrouded in legend and mystery. His true identity, motives, and origins are subjects of whispered tales and speculation. Some say he was once a great ruler or a god who turned away from the Golden Order, marking him as both lost and powerful. The Nameless King's influence permeates the magical fabric of the world and appears as an unpredictable force among the unfolding conflicts. His legacy symbolizes lost glory, forgotten secrets, and the unknown perils that await those who delve too deeply into the realm's mysteries. The presence of this figure warns of untamed powers beyond mortal or even divine comprehension, adding a layer of uncertainty and grandeur to the struggle to mend or dismantle the Elden Ring. Chapter 38. The Influence of Curses and Their Bearers. Curses in the lands between are potent, often tragic afflictions that burden their bearers with twisted destinies and altered souls. Emerging from broken oaths, desperate bargains, or malignant magics, curses manifest as dark marks on bodies and spirits alike. Those afflicted often endure suffering, exile, and transformation into beings neither wholly mortal nor divine. This motif highlights themes of loss, resilience, and fate's cruelness woven throughout the realm's stories. Cursed individuals may become feared villains or reluctant heroes, their cursed nature directing alliances, conflicts, and quests. The interplay of curses, free will, and cosmic forces illustrates the world's moral and supernatural complexities, where power gains come with heavy price. Chapter 39. The Final Convergence, Toward Restoration or Ruin. As the Tarnished gather the great runes and ascend towards the Elden Throne, the culmination of centuries of strife draws near. This final convergence unites the destinies of gods, demigods, mortals, and cosmic forces alike. The choices made in this decisive moment hold the weight to restore the Elden Ring and usher in a new golden age, or to let the world collapse into deeper ruin and chaos. The throne itself, a symbol of ultimate authority, becomes a battleground of ambition, sacrifice, and destiny. The uncertainty surrounding this moment reflects the delicate balance of power, will, and consequence that defines the lands between. The outcome will ripple beyond this realm, influencing realities tied to the greater will and possibly the outer gods. This climax represents the epic resolution of countless intertwined stories, where hope and despair hang in precarious equipoise.